How old should somebody be to be able to handle an Uzi, to take target lessons? Or should anybody be able to have an Uzi at the target range? Does anybody need one? We're going to come back. We're going to discuss the tragedy that happened last Monday where a 9-year-old was taking shooting lessons and her instructor was killed. Kids and Uzis right here on WEMFradio.com.
This video showing a 9-year-old girl learning to fire an automatic Uzi taken just moments before this lesson turned deadly.
All right, go ahead and give you one shot.
Soon after, investigators say the gun kicked back over her head and a bullet accidentally hit her instructor, Charlie Vaca, killing him.
And we are back. We are Smokin in the girls' room here on WEMFradio.com. This tragic shooting that happened last Monday at the shooting range in Arizona. There were actually conspiracy theorists that said this didn't actually happen. It was concocted by gun control folks. And then there are gun control people. Any incident that happens brings out all the gun control folks and rises everything to the surface. I'm pretty much, personally, I'm in the middle with all of this. I do believe that people should have the right to bear arms. But then you get a case like this, it's like, what are these people thinking?
Morons.
They put a gun into a 9-year-old child's hands. I mean, an Uzi.
I mean, that's just insanity.
It's not like the parents own this. You can go to these gun ranges and you can rent these guns and have an instructor show you how to use it. So it's not even the right to bear arms. This is just bad parenting.
Stupid
It's
parenting.
dangerous for the instructors,
And the instructor. I'm sorry. I mean, I feel badly for the guy, but if you don't have the cojones to go, I am not going to teach a 9-year-old girl to shoot an Uzi, then maybe you...
This happened here. I don't know if you guys remember.
I'm sorry, go right ahead.
Well, in 2008, it happened here in Massachusetts. There was the boy who went to the, I think it was the Westfield Gun Club, and his father insisted that he be allowed to shoot an Uzi, and they really didn't want to allow him to do that. And the father insisted he'll be fine. He shot the Uzi, and he shot himself in the head. So this 8-year-old child died.
I do remember that.
Yes, the father was never charged, which he should have been for negligence.
He was acquitted.
Absolutely.
He was acquitted.
Well, all of the two instructors and the owner of the gun club were acquitted of any charges. But that child died at 8 years old because these people allowed him to handle an Uzi.
Okay, an Uzi, 600 to 650 bullets a minute.
I know.
10 bullets a second. 10.
So who needs that?
Exactly.
Why would
a child need that?
Why would a man need that? You can't hunt with something like that.
I know. And who needs to learn how to use that? You're not going to miss your target with that many shots.
Well, they're intended for the battlefield. Soldiers who are in situations where they have an enemy, they can shoot as many times as possible without having to reload.
It's a military weapon.
It's a military weapon.
The automatic weapon is the number one killing machine in the world. It's killed more people than any of the bombs at Hiroshima. It's the number one thing that is used to kill man.
So it's obvious to me that the general public is just too dumb to have weapons this powerful. You are dumb if you would put a weapon that powerful in the hands of a 9-year-old child.
While you're going for a cheeseburger.
And they're videotaping this whole thing.
I mean,
this poor child's going to be scarred for life.
It's over the top.
I was going to say, I mean, they've ruined the child's life. She will live with the horror of having killed somebody
and
at
watched
9
him
years
die.
old. And
she goes back to school.
Die.
What did you do this summer? Oh, I blew someone's head off.
Yeah.
Basically.
You know, they're morons. That's my opinion, and I'm usually not quite that opinionated. Morons.
Yeah.
All of them, the owners of the gun place, the parents, moronic.
Yep.
The girl is not moronic. She's the only one who is not.
She's the victim.
The one that died, moron.
Yep.
They're all ridiculous. And somebody did the math on this, and it says with the average American 9-year-old girl weighing about 60 pounds and the average Uzi weighing 7 to 9 pounds, that would be roughly equal to a 40-year-old man firing a 25-pound gun, similar to the Hotchkiss M1909 used in trench warfare in World War I and II. And that was a weapon that was so heavy that it sat on a tripod. So if you even just watch that little clip of him training her, she has no idea even how to stand. Like, she has no idea. I am not surprised that she blew his head off. It makes complete sense to me. It was ridiculous. And if you watch him, she fired one at a time at first.
He had it on single shot.
And then he leans over and he switches it to automatic, and goodbye, he's done.
Oh,
he says, I'll be right here, right right behind you.
Right here and here. This what drives me even more crazy is the owner of the burgers and bullets or whatever you want to call it. He said, the manager, she was a very mature young lady. She's 9. She's 9, okay? And this is something she wanted to do and her parents wanted to treat her. This was something that was high on her bucket list. Bucket list. You're 9. And her parents took her out to do what she was going to do.
That's a whole other topic.
Ridiculous. And of course, he's not, they're not, the only changes they may make, he said, to what happened is that they might have a height restriction. Not an age restriction, but a height restriction.
Right. It's just another accident waiting to happen.
But you know what? We are responsible as well. And when I say we, the people in this country, because it's up to the states and the local municipalities to regulate gun access. And most states do not limit gun access to children. Connecticut, after that little boy was killed using the Uzi, is one of the few states that passed a law prohibiting children under the age of 16 from handling a machine gun at a shooting range. As far as Massachusetts is concerned, if the parents have given permission, either the parents or the legal guardian of the child, and the child is supervised by a properly certified and licensed instructor, there is no age limit.
Incredible. You can't drive until you're 16. You can't buy tobacco until you're 18. You can't drink until you're 21, but I'll give you an Uzi at 9.
Right.
It's crazy.
Huh?
And there's actually 21 states that have no laws restricting access to guns. So that's almost half of our country that doesn't have a law, which is insane. And I want to go back to the parents for a second. What on earth are you even thinking? Like, how do you go from, let's go on vacation, because from what I read, they're from New Jersey and they were vacationing in Arizona. How do you go from, let's go on vacation to Arizona to, honey, let's let little Susie fire an Uzi? How do you
common sense?
How do you get from A to B? Like, I don't understand that.
I'm telling you, there should be aptitude tests for breeding and pet ownership. That's just it. I can't. Oh my God.
But I think again, it's shame on us though, because in the states we can legislate this, or we can ask our representatives to legislate. To regulate it. There are better safety standards in the United States for riding a roller coaster at an amusement park than there are for allowing children to use machine guns.
It's because the NRA is strong.
Yeah, it's all money.
But her life is done.
To a certain extent, but I also, and no offense, Carm, I know where you're coming from. I just, this whole, I don't understand why this country seems to feel like it can't stand tall and be proud and go on and do its business with unless it's packing a pistol. I've never seen anything like this any other place in the world where you're willing to just yell and scream and protest and vote against and vote for over the right to have a weapon to kill somebody. I don't get that. I've never seen it anyplace else before.
That doesn't offend me at all. I do believe in the right to bear arms, that folks should, responsible adults should have guns, but I do not like you're saying, I do not understand this obsession, this like revolution. It's like the gun revolution across America, and that I don't get. I kind of resent that. It's
common sense. Common sense is lacking in the gun arena.
Sure is.
Well, these assault weapons. What do you need? I don't remember what you said, Val, but 600 in a minute or something.
Oh, who was saying that?
Who said this?
Anna Maria. 600 to 650 bullets.
Why? What on earth, in any place in this United States of America, do we need a gun that can do that? Ever. Not even no one needs that. Police, nobody.
Right. Give me an old-fashioned gun.
Well, we only need to look at our college campuses to see how semi-automatic machine guns have been misused.
Correct. Ridiculous.
Well, that's the point. It's like, who needs those? Well, there are mass murderers that need them. It's easy access to kill a bunch of people in one fell swoop. And that seems to be the only purpose to having them.
Unless you live in Idaho.
Right. And even hunters don't need this. You need an Uzi to go hunting. You really are a crappy hunter. You're a really bad hunter, and you should just hang it up and go to Market Basket and get your meat.
Yay! Oh, hallelujah. went shopping today. I bought all kinds of wonderful things. I'm going to cook. I'm so happy.
Val can eat again. We're so excited.
Yes.
And your budget is not busted.
No,
Right.
no.
Oh, man.
It's one-stop shopping. I'm so happy.
I did want to, mention that during the course of the show, but we're talking about the Uzi and kids and military arms, which are...
It just seems like America is setting itself up to become a police state.
Yeah, but if the police are armed like that, then I feel like I should have to be too.
I mean, well, somebody mentioned before that the police in London, as a rule, don't carry guns. It's because people in London don't have guns.
Right.
One begets the other. You can't send a policeman into a situation where everybody's armed with an Uzi.
I get that, too. I get that debate. That's one of the credible debates that the other side, the gun toters, the NRA folks are saying, as long as the police have their guns, we're going to have our guns, too. So we have a two-pronged monster here. The more militaristic our police become, the gun folks are going to hang on to their guns, and it's not going to be a pretty picture if anything busts loose on this.
No
breaks.
If.
Yeah.
It's just a when. This is a pot that is just about to boil over.
I know.
Anybody who doesn't see that really needs to go visit an optometrist. It's scaring the hell out of me, I'll tell you.
It's very frightening.
It is scary.
Can you just imagine being that girl, though, thinking that she's going to have a day of fun, and then she watches this guy's head blow off? I don't care how much therapy she gets. This will be with her forever. She's 9. It's undone her now forever and ever and ever.
I think she should be removed from her parents.
I said the same thing.
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
Well,
But it's legal. It's
Right.
legal.
Nothing's
You cannot remove this child from her parents. In the opinion of most of us on this panel, they didn't have
No common
a lot
sense.
of common sense. They didn't act in her best interest. But the law says that they can do this. There's nothing illegal.
I wonder if social services is going to be looking into this family when they get back to Jersey.
No, it's
Nothing.
completely
It's
legal.
closed.
But it was really bad judgment, and we know that they're from New Jersey. They're not from Arizona where this
But
happened.
she was at a gun range where she was working with an instructor who presumably was going to protect her from the recoil.
And they've been doing
something
this.
went
She wasn't
wrong.
the only child that's ever done this. They do this regularly with
They
children.
have birthday parties with these.
That's why it's called burgers and bullets. It's,
birthday party.
One of my dear friends and her parents were a big military family, and we used to go to her farm. I was very young. I was probably between the ages of 9 and 11, and they had guns and they had rifles, and we would target practice. We would shoot. We'd shoot cans. We were, of course, under the guidance of her grandparents and her parents, and everything was above board. I think that guns are fine, and it was really fun, and we got really good at it. It was a skill, and it was enjoyable, but they weren't Uzis. They were just regular old-fashioned guns with bullets, and even then, the kickback on those was really powerful. For a child, I remember it hurt the first few times I fired those guns, and protecting our ears, and I don't relate to an Uzi or any, I don't even understand why they're legal.
It's horrifying.
So.
And in 2013, there were 72 cases where kids handling guns killed themselves, and only 4 adults were held liable. So there you go.
Yeah,
they just don't.
It's over.
That is very judgmental, but they are morons, all of them. And I don't feel bad for the parents. I just don't feel bad. I think the whole thing 100% avoidable. She should have never been in there. Her bucket list, 9 years old.
I
Really?
know.
Ridiculous to even say. She's a very mature young lady.
She's going to be destroyed for life.
Destroyed.
She'll always remember that
Good
instructor's
parents.
voice.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
And the parents are too. I'm not sympathizing with the parents. They were stupid, but I do feel horrible for that little girl, that 9-year-old girl, because her life is just shot. There's a lot of therapy there, and I hope her parents spend it. Every dime of it.
Every dime of it, exactly. And it was very nice. The guy that got killed, Mr. Vaca, his family feels extraordinarily badly for the little girl and wants her to know that, yes, she did it, but it wasn't her fault, so to speak. They really feel very badly for her and what happened to her.
That's the sad part of the remaining people. He has a 19-year-old daughter. She spoke out. All of the families, all of the extended families, the friends.
Of course,
and when something like this happens, it's just the ripple effect is
huge.
devastating.
Right.
It's
But
huge.
people don't think about that.
Well, I think you can regulate guns without banning guns. Lately, the discussion between the NRA and the people that would like to see no guns has been an all or nothing. And I think there has to be a conversation about compromise and common sense with regard to guns. And that hasn't happened. And a lot of politicians are afraid of initiating that discussion because they don't think they'll be reelected.
Obama
it has to happen.
Won't be reelected. Why won't he talk about it? He can't go for a third term. This is what I don't understand. This is the the time when he should have been doing the policy that he wanted to do at the beginning of his administration, and he's doing nothing.
It's Congress as well. It's on both sides of the fence, Republican and Democrat.
It's because the NRA has so much money and power. And I've said this over and over again. Don't rely on political parties to take a side on this. It's all about the money, whether you're on the left, the right, or the middle. It is all about money, and the NRA owns this country.
Well, that's falling. That's completely correct, but I'm sorry, what I'm seeing are people who are content to play tennis between the parties. I don't see anybody moving forward on a different direction, a different candidate, a different party, a different platform.
People have tried. They're
just going back and forth, back and forth. Cindy, you're absolutely right about compromise. I just don't see it happening.
It hasn't happened, and I don't know why each side is so entrenched in their position that there can't be a discussion that's common sense and rational. When you have a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old, in the case of the little boy 4 years ago, why doesn't that generate a conversation on regulating machine guns and access to children? Start the conversation there.
Politicians are afraid of the NRA, though.
But the NRA is part of that conversation.
They don't want to hear about any gun control.
But that's
even
crazy.
If it's for children.
That's crazy. When you
it's
have
not going to be talked about.
When you have a machine gun and you have a recoil on a gun that is killing children, or in this case the instructor, that should generate a discussion on accessibility of an Uzi to an 8-9-year-old child.
I would say to anybody, I don't see why any grown man, I have not yet read the reason why any gun owner needs an Uzi.
I agree, but at least start the conversation with children, because the NRA's position is going to be that it's a gun, and so
Second Amendment.
But start with children. How can you justify the need for children to have access to shooting an Uzi?
Well, because you can charge them to the parents to do so.
Yeah. I sure wouldn't invite anybody.
Yeah, so you give the guardianship over to the parents, and the right to the parents.
Right.
You know, if I want my daughter to shoot an Uzi, she'll shoot an Uzi. I mean, who are you to say?
Darn it. I was just reading that Sam Scamardo, he is the manager there at Burgers and Bullets. They allow children 8 and older to shoot firearms. In fact, they instruct kids as young as 5 in .22 rifles.
Can you imagine a 5-year-old with a gun? It's like a chimpanzee.
I was with
an Uzi.
I was with the 9-year-old today.
That's crazy.
I can't even
They're
imagine.
Little teeny
No, I know.
kids.
But a 5-year-old, I mean...
They don't know what a gun is. They don't even know the danger that comes from a gun.
They see it on TV, and it's just fantasy.
Obviously, it kills. They have on their website all the different guns that you can use. They have sniper rifles. They've got magnums. They've got shotguns. You name it. The Uzi, of course.
The AK-47. That's the street gun of choice.
They have a grenade launcher. Really? What do we need that for?
Try that.
Sniper rifles. I mean, it's horrifying.
Why would
go on and
sniper
see it.
rifles?
The Scar, the Browning that has a clip of, 150 right there. They've got a Glock. You name it. Any gun you want, you can shoot. It's amazing. And they've got pictures of all of them.
I'm really caught in the middle of this because I do feel like everything's overly regulated. And at the same time, there's a major lack of common sense that when it affects the safety of other citizens, we need regulations. There have to be laws. I'm in a quandary over that. Sniper rifles. Why on earth would anybody? You want to learn to use these weapons, then join the military. You will learn. They're all there. For civilians to be just walking in off the street and 5-year-olds to be able to pick up guns in these places and that are featuring these military guns, rifles or whatever, it's insane to me. There's no common sense there.
Well, we regulate cars. We regulate rides at amusement parks. We regulate
women's wombs.
Oh, absolutely.
But we don't regulate 9-year-olds shooting off Uzis.
And they're innocent children. They are ultimately, they're the victims. Get them a toy gun. We had plenty of toy guns. Our father used to take them away from us when we aimed them at anybody. That was the only rule. You aim that toy gun, that squirt gun or any gun at somebody, I'm taking the gun. The town dump was probably loaded with our guns because we were kids and we did it. Inevitably, you do that. Children do that. They have no control over that. 5-year-olds or even 7-year-olds or 8 or 9-year-olds they're gonna make a mistake. Adults do. Police do. Guns are lethal weapons. I still believe in the legalization. I do believe there have to be limits. Uzis and 9-year-olds, no go.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to living in a country where people don't feel it's their God-given right to own a weapon. I just can't take that. It just doesn't make any sense to me that it's such a big part of the culture of this country. Ultimately, I don't see a fix until you address the issue of the cultural attachment to guns that exists only here. It's something uniquely American.
It is. It's from the beginning of the United States as well.
Yeah,
Gabrielle.
I've never seen
throughout our
like
history.
That. It's kind of mind blowing.
Have you ever been in a position where someone has threatened to kill you legitimately?
Yeah.
Okay, and you don't want to protect yourself?
My life got
You didn't want to
during a Monsanto march, and I had to tell the police, and it was kind of scary. But on the other hand, I was just like, if somebody's going to shoot you, they're going to shoot you. I'm not going to arm myself. I'm not going to be guilty of that. And if I die, I die. I'm not that attached to this place anyway. But nothing won't possess me to go out and buy an automatic weapon. I can't do that.
Right.
I would slit your throat. Okay.
I think
I will. I don't have a problem with killing
put the
people.
teeth
I'm just
condom
saying.
on you.
I just think it's cowardly. If you really feel like you have the right to kill somebody, you should be able to look them in the eye while you're doing it.
there are people that
We all hold
legitimately.
our throats
Ladies
here.
and gentlemen, I'm sitting next to her.
I'm never going to piss her off.
But you know what I'm
We
saying.
love you, Gabrielle.
I'll never piss her off, I promise.
Don't stab me.
There are responsible people who own guns, and
Yes,
they
there are.
own them
There
for
certainly
legitimate
are.
purposes.
Yes, there are.
There are hunters. There are target
My
shooters.
opinion is common sense should prevail.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that most people don't possess common sense, but there are a lot of very, very responsible gun owners.
Right.
But these parents in this particular case and the people that
But
run
9
this
years,
place.
exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly. And I would never invite somebody that owned an Uzi to any of my parties. You're out.
Please don't bring it with you.
Oh, Carm, I really wanted to come.
I'm sorry.
Gabrielle?
You can bring the knife and
I'll bring
Gabrielle can bring a knife, but no Uzis.
I'm not going to that party.
You don't need a ride home tonight, Gabrielle, right?
We want to thank everybody for tuning in to Smokin' in the Girls' Room tonight here on WEMF Radio. I'm Carmelita. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed our discussions today. And hey, move that gun over there. Stop aiming it at me. I'm Carmelita.
I'm Val Malta. Enjoy the last weekend of the summer.
Cindy Canavan, enjoy. I hope you liked our show tonight.
Meredith Chambers.
Anna Maria Soriano.
Gabrielle Agachico, and I am not packing.
And thanks so much for joining us tonight here on WEMF Radio.